I don't know if you heard, Lenny, who graduated from here in 2019, was accosted, I think it was about a week ago. And he's doing all right. I just heard news that he's doing rather well. And if I mention him, it's not because he's in danger of passing or anything like that. But it's a big deal because he graduated from this school. He's an old boy. And so I think that says something about the beginning of this year. And to begin this homily, I just wanted to pause a little bit and recognize what happened and pray for the man who did that to him. I hear he's from the mongrel mob. And so let us pause for a minute. What are you going to be? I don't know if you're going to be an engineer, if you're going to be a cook, if you're going to be a lawyer, if you're going to be a bus driver. I have no idea where you're going to go in your life, and often I don't think you might either. But I can ask you right now what kind of man you're going to be. Maybe you don't know your job, but you know, I remember when I was growing up, and I can think of two examples. One example was one of my best friends when I was in year 6 and 7. His name was Peter. Peter and I, we had to have sleepovers all the time. We'd go and do all kinds of stuff. It was great. It was great. He was a great friend. He had a little brother. Spent a lot of time together. But after year 6, he went to a different school. I kind of lost track of him. By year 9, I met him again. And he had made some choices already. He had entered a gang called the Crips. And he went before a guy that was messing with his girlfriend and hit him really hard. And Peter, he had to do a lot of time in jail because of that. And I remember him back in year 6. I mean, he was such a good kid. Or I think of this other girl that I was close with when I was 18. Her boyfriend was also part of the Crips. And she couldn't get out of it. Remember, I'm from California. And so that was one of the main gangs in our area. And I remember her boyfriend got jealous one day and went into the nightclub and shot a man that was dancing with her. I ask you, what kind of man are you going to be? These kind of questions are really important. Because when I look at this saying, virtute scientiam complete, that's what that's asking you. It's a deep question. What kind of man are you going to be? When we speak of virtue, we're speaking of making a choice and establishing the right habits so you can be that man. Virtue is excellence. And whether or not you're called to be a cook, which I would love to be personally, I love cooking. That would be one of my dreams. That would be great. Or you're called to be a baker. Or whatever road you're called in life. The question is, what kind of man are you going to be? And I tell you, in the little things, you have to choose between the two great paths. One, it's almost corny, is one of love, where I say, I'm going to put the other person before me. And I'm going to lay down my life for the good of others. And build up this society, being the foundation stones of this society? Or myself? You know? It's either love, meaning the other person, and our society. That means goodness, truth. That means searching for knowledge, ciencia. Or spinning the whole world around my little finger by searching for ever more power or ever more control. And that kind of decision, like with Peter, my friend, happens when you're young. And you can always turn it around. I know in my life, my own conversion happened when I started to realize these points. And that happened a little bit later. It was maybe 18, 19. But with Peter, it started when he was, 10, 11, 12? And it's these questions that make this school a Catholic school. Because I don't think that God is just concerned on whether or not you're successful. As if being successful will make you happy. Because it won't. God is interested in your soul. In who you are. In what kind of man you're going to be. And that's what God desires. He wants you to be full of life. So full that you can become a cornerstone of our society, of others. Laying down your life for your community, for your family, for your friends, for all those whom you work with, for our society. And it is absolutely important. And so, when we're talking about studies, what does that have to do with it? You know, when I was in high school, I couldn't have cared less. I found out the beauty of studies a little too late. It was the second half of my last year, year 13. And then I went on a hunt after that. And I was prowling for truth after that. And that led me ultimately to God. But you have a golden opportunity now. And it's I look back and I say, wow, how much I was given. And I wouldn't want you to miss that. Because it is a truth to say that you need to make that choice. There is something worth fighting for in life. When we read that first reading, that's what it was talking about. Notice it said, "For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, enforced justice, received promises, stopped the mouths, literally, of lions, quenched raging fires, escaped the edge of the sword, won strength out of weakness, because they realized that they cannot do it on their own." That's an essential point. If you remember from last year, I mentioned how the rite of passage of a young man is realizing that there is something that he has to hunt for. And that is the goodness and truth. He has to make a choice between standing alone for what is good or going with the Crips. Going with the flow of the river that flows downhill. Using his strength so that he might stop the mouths of the lions, he might enforce justice, he might conquer the kingdoms, or using his strength for himself. And so, in the gospel today, we hear these words that Jesus said. When he went up to the apostles, he said to them, "Follow me. Follow me." You know, if Jesus Christ has been spoken about so much that he's heard in every single corner of the world, and unfortunately, he's even used as a swear word. If Jesus Christ is so well known that his name even penetrates into what is wrong, then there's something there. And what he showed us is by this thing, right here. What he showed us is that there are things worth dying for. There are things worth giving our life for. And that is love through virtue and truth through knowledge. Virtute et scientiam. And so let us ask that at the beginning of this year we might run forth into what is truth and virtue. And we might make that choice to say, no, no, no. This will not continue. Evil will not continue to gain in this world. And we will fight for love. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.